Galvanize is known for providing the most cutting-edge tech education and the most collaborative workspaces in the industry. On this episode of Out of Office, brought to you by GalvanizeTV, we sit down with the CEO and founder of Uru Sports, Ainsley McCallister. And now your host, Katie O'Block.
Hi, welcome to Out of Office. I'm Katie O'Block, and I'm here today with Ainsley McCallister with Uru Sports. Welcome to Out of Office.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Uru Sports, I just want to make sure I get this right, is an online platform that helps athletes find roster positions on semi-professional or professional teams, mostly abroad and in field hockey right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your background experience and what brought you to where you are right now.
Yeah, so after graduating from the University of Michigan, I went on to play field hockey professionally for 7 teams across the world. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Though I missed out on a lot of opportunities that could have been a better fit. It was like intimidating, random, and finding teams were really intimidating.
Yeah.
And so I realized that this problem was much bigger than myself. It was actually the problem across like 20 million other elite and semi-pro athletes across the world. Mm-hmm. And so there's the opportunity to completely revamp the random word-of-mouth networking that constitutes sports recruiting today.
Yeah. Have you always had kind of an entrepreneurial spirit? Is that what led you down? Or was it just an opportunity that you saw come up?
Yeah, I would say definitely more the opportunity. Yeah. I actually never thought of myself as a business person at all. I was pre-med undergrad and I definitely had my eyes on the medical route, but I saw a need, and in college I had started student groups and student organizations, and I love being a creator, dreamer, and making things happen. So I kind of just think I fell into it.
Took it from there.
Yeah.
Is there one, as you're traveling the world and playing on all these various teams, is there one singular moment that you can think of that was like, oh, I need to create this that makes this process more efficient?
I think it's just a compounded thing
Yeah.
Because I found, like I kind of alluded to before, there were a lot of different, of my 7 teams that I played for, really 4 were experiences that I'd recommend.
Yeah.
I started having, learning a lot about what questions to ask, what information. It's just really hard to find the right information, and whatever the coach says from across the world, you just trust because you really want that opportunity to compete. So I just think that there's no global platform for transparency in this space, and so having the right people to be able to ask questions to and things are really important.
So I'm not very familiar with the recruiting process or being an athlete. I'm not a professional athlete. So for those of us that aren't familiar with the traditional way of going about it, how does an athlete go from college to finding a team and then traveling and making the next steps happen?
Right, so actually after college I was all set up in with a job with Stryker medical device sales, and my sport just took me on a journey that I never imagined possible. So what happened was the national coach, he called me and gave me this opportunity to train in England for 3 months. When I was over there, it opened my eyes to this whole world of sports that is completely unknown to us, Americans especially, because people play sport overseas from a really young age until they're actually 70. Mm-hmm. So it's a really it's a lifestyle more. What was the question again?
Finding the process, going from college to playing professionally abroad.
Oh, yeah.
Do you work with agents? How do you find those opportunities?
Yeah, so I was really lucky, I told that story because I was really lucky to have that first connection. And it really, right now, the world of sports is all reliant on personal connections and who you know in order to get the right opportunity. Yeah. So right now there's agents. the agents also, it's reliant on their personal network.
Yeah.
And so if you have a good agent that represents you, it's a lot easier, but not in all sports. Field hockey is the third largest sport in the world, which lots of people don't know, but there are minimal agents to help navigate that process.
Interesting.
And if they are, they're very expensive. So, and their network is limited to who they know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I read on one of the few articles that's published about you that this started out as a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
All of your tips and tricks and questions and database started out as a spreadsheet.
Yeah. So when I was in Australia, I kept getting questions or like Facebook messages from my former teammates in England and in the US saying, hey, like I would love to play in Australia. Can you help me get there? And so I care a lot about helping athletes or my friends find actually positions that were the right fit for their goals, if they wanted to just have a good time and life experience, or if they wanted to train really hard and get better and make a higher team or whatnot. So I did a lot of I would reach out to the teams and say, hey, like, here's Laura, she wants to play, she's a midfielder, here's her stats, here's some video footage. And then they'd be like, oh, well, actually, we want a midfielder. And so that's kind of how it started. And then I had like 300 athletes on wanting positions and then like 20 teams wanting the right athlete. And it just kind of started from there.
Yeah. So you were a makeshift agent, kind of.
Yeah, just because I cared,
Totally,
about finding my friends good opportunities. So
Totally.
yeah.
So when did you make the switch from this is a spreadsheet to let's turn this into a business? How did that process start?
Yeah, I was actually pretty reluctant because like I said, I didn't think of myself as a business person at all. But then I just started realizing like this is a huge missed opportunity that there's no transparent global platform to connect the sporting world. And there's so many amazing opportunities out there, but there's no connection point. So I was like, this is gonna exist in this decade, so why not be the person to make it happen?
Yeah. So what are your users right now? Who's using Uru? What do they look like? Where are they in the world? Who are your users?
Yeah, so we have about 2,000 athletes from 28 different countries.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of our placements have been from Japan to England, Australia to Belgium, US to New Zealand, but we also are NCAA cleared now, so we're helping place athletes from overseas to the US college system. And we've also placed some college athletes in their summer vacation to other teams to get better during the summer. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And are you only doing field hockey right now?
Yeah, so that's our beachhead market, but we're planning the expansion into basketball really soon, and then all the follow-on sports like soccer, volleyball, because the problem of this really exists across all sports.
What challenges have you had? So being a first-time entrepreneur and starting your first business,
Right.
going in a market that doesn't really have, right, like you're not building another car or another, right, and a market that's been around for a super long time. What are some of the challenges you've experienced?
Well, I think there's a new challenge every day, to be honest. Like there's, you fix one thing that you've been losing sleep over, and then the next day it's a new thing. So it's really, I think my advice is just really get really great advisors who you can lean on. We've been really fortunate to be able to tap into that, and that's really been our guiding force.
Yeah.
So
How are you finding your advisors?
it's really, I've been lucky. It's just through networking and past experiences of through the Michigan alumni, sport alumni. It's a really solid group, and through Galvanize, we've had found a lot of mentors there. Black Box, which I think you'll talk.
Yeah, we'll
about
come
later.
back. Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Excellent. How has being an athlete, because most entrepreneurs aren't at the level of athlete that you've been at, how do you take your athletics and channel the things that you've learned and the lessons that you've learned to being an entrepreneur? How has that helped you?
Yeah, I think there's so many different qualities and things that you learn as an athlete that translate well to business. I think one is being able to accept criticism as like feedback. I think that's a big thing. I also think like just diligence of schedule, having the importance of having a routine and get things done. Like it doesn't matter, you can talk the talk, but unless you perform, it doesn't matter. So I think that's just like having that mentality is important.
Cool. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back. We're going to talk about Black Bucks Connect.
Okay.
We're going to talk about globalization of sport and all that good stuff. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Employers rave about graduates of the remote program just as much as our on-site programs. Just like the in-person programs, the relationships you build with your fellow students are super strong. Please reach out to our admissions department today at galvanize.com.
You make lifelong friends in situations like this when you're learning rigorously for that much time under that much stress. It's like you share experiences. So I could take this class several times over and still learn something new in each lecture. And I also knew this was a very challenging program, and I like to be challenged. I like to learn. I like to push myself. So it definitely was the best choice for me.
Welcome back to Out of Office. We're talking to Ainsley McCallister today about her company, Uru Sports. They're a platform that connects semi-pro and professional athletes to teams and opportunities and experiences. So I want to just jump right back into where we left off, which is how you're building your business, what that means as an athlete, and you've had some wins recently. You've expanded into Africa. Could you tell us a little bit about that opportunity and what's coming out of that?
Yeah, so really, Uru Africa is just like our first affiliate model. We realized that the personal connection and people are really important to making Uru grow across the globe. Right now we have athletes everywhere and we have teams from everywhere, but it's just really having people on the ground who can supply the right knowledge and information and also be the right support system. So we have one of our teammates, Razi Peterse. He is a 3-time Olympian. He's kind of leading the Uru Africa. He just actually got selected to compete in this next Olympics, Tokyo 2020.
Oh,
so
congratulations to him.
Yeah, I know.
That's exciting.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's just having him on the ground, and he's helping build out a team, find the right partnerships, kind of create the right marketing funnels to actually grow Uru in each location. So.
And you sponsored a team.
Yeah, so that was we wanted to test our recruiting process and actually the technology that Uru provides. So we decided to take a Uru World team to Japan to compete in the Griffin Tokyo Cup. It was just a 3-day weekend cup in Japan. And so we put up, with the help of Griffin, we just like did some free Facebook and Instagram kind of like come join our team, like apply if you want to, like join the Uru World team as they compete in Japan. And we had more than 450 athletes apply from across the world. And so we selected 17 athletes, and they went to Japan. They all paid their own way and almost beat the Japanese national team, which is ranked in the top 15 teams in the world. So it's just kind of proving that if athletes know of the opportunity, they're going to jump at it, and that with the power of having a broad audience or a broad pool of athletes to recruit from, you can make a really powerful team.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, to go that far with a team that you've put together for 3 days is impressive.
Yeah, and they didn't all speak the same language. We had athletes from Pakistan, like Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Spain, like really everywhere. So
very cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So as you're managing these global opportunities, how are you creating those global relationships when you're here in Denver, Colorado? How are you managing that?
Yeah, well, I'm really fortunate that I had 3 years of playing overseas because I'm really relying on all those connections I've made and those good friendships formed. But I also think I just was in South Africa for a month. I was over in England before that for a couple weeks, Holland. So I think there's nothing like the power of being in person. Today you can Skype and kind of be there, but not really there. So I think going there is important.
So any recommendations for entrepreneurs that are looking to build a global network? You're in the early stages, you're the first, one and maybe a half of you is working on this company. You're an early stage, so funding isn't a thing. What recommendations would you have to other entrepreneurs that are looking to create global relationships early on?
Yeah, I'd say create it in your budget to go. But also don't just go blindly, like go with people that you already have meetings with, want to talk to, and people want to help startups take off and succeed is what I've been finding. So don't be scared to ask.
Yeah. That's a great segue into Google's Black Box, right? You said that up perfectly. Google's Black Box is an accelerator that helps entrepreneurs kind of get mentorship and go through workshops and understand, and it's not just the funding piece. Right. How did you get connected to Black Box?
Actually, it was through Galvanize.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so one of the Galvanize employees, she reached out to me and said, Ainsley, I think you would be a great fit for this. It's all about founders who are creating a company that can have a huge global impact. And it's a really great opportunity where they bring founders together from all across the world who to share each other's challenges and kind of just get this deeper dive into your business.
Yeah.
So.
How did that experience shape where Uro is headed now?
Yeah, so it was like a very intensive 2-week program where there were 14 of us founders from 11 countries, all sleeping together in the same house, in bunk beds, and it was incredible. We had people from Singapore creating apps that are changing the travel industry. We had someone from China who's doing a robot that's it was incredible to see all these passionate people taking the risk and pursuing their passion. But it's not easy. And so I think a big thing of Black Box was like just the perseverance that it takes as an entrepreneur and being vulnerable and needing support, getting a network, and also just stepping back and looking at your business from, are you actually accomplishing what you're out here to do? So it really had us step back and look at our value, mission, kind of our big BHAG, they call it, like the big, hairy, scary goal.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The big question that you're asking, you're trying to figure out.
Our why. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Technology in sports, going to your why, technology in sports is often about those marginal gains, like how fast your skis can get or how light your bike can get, how much resistance your swim skin suit takes off. You're looking at technology for sports in a little bit of a different way. How are you envisioning Uro to change the way that athletics takes place?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that Uro, it really is using technology in a sense of connecting people. And so you can be the fastest athlete, but if you don't have the connections to get that great opportunity, then it doesn't really matter that much if you're fast. So I think that it's just really about looking at technology to connect and create these incredible opportunities for athletes to achieve their full potential. And our whole thing is about leveling the playing field and bringing together the world through sports. Because sports is a huge uniting power. And so, we really believe Uro can unite the world through sports.
Totally. And you're doing that from a network that creates people, much like LinkedIn. You've said before, the LinkedIn of sports.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, founded way back in 2002, it's taken a while for this kind of narrow social network to catch up. Do you think that's a trend that's going to continue in that these really specific networks to connect to people that really truly need to be connected, not just like looking at your best friend's kids' pictures online, right? Is that a trend that you think is going to continue to happen? Is that narrowing of social networks?
I believe so because, I mean, we've been approached by like someone in the theater industry wanting to kind of license our technology to and change it to be tailored to theater recruiting. And I think it just shows that there's a niche and people want to find the right people for the jobs. In order to do that, it helps to showcase yourself correctly and what information do you share, where do you look to actually get a tailored small network of people who are not small, but like exact network of people who actually could fill your position and be a good fit. So we also have been licensed a personality assessment for athletes, and so that's going to be really, I think, key to where we're trying to find the right people for the right positions. So I think character and how you fit within a team is crucial to the performance of a team.
Yeah. Last question, and it's kind of a tough one, and feel free to answer how you want. Could Euro Sports eliminate the need for agents and recruiters in sports? Like like Jerry Maguire would not exist if an agent wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I think Euro really, it's more about empowering athletes to achieve their full potential through knowledge and information. I think that we could utilize agents in their networks, but we also want athletes to have the opportunity to take recruiting on their own and kind of decide, do you want to play in Australia? Do you want to play in Spain? What opportunities do you actually have? How can you negotiate the best deals? Things like that.
Excellent. So empowering them to take control of their career.
Exactly, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Ainsley, thank you so much for being here. That's it for the day. It goes by so fast.
It does.
We really appreciate you for spending the time, and good luck with your business.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching. If you want to subscribe to the channel, feel free. Catch more Out of Offices. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you so much.